All right. Hello and welcome back to Who's Even Listening. This will be episode number 10. Appreciate everybody that has been tuning in already. And as always, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's a subscription link if you'd like to send money to help the show out. We appreciate anybody that does that as well. And our social media links are Who's Out There Besides Us and at Andrew Doofendock. And also, we have a very, very special guest here, returning guest, my beautiful, lovely wife. We appreciate you taking the time coming on. We want to thank Mom for watching Zen so we can do this.
Thank you very much, Debbie.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And also, we got some big news we're going to start out with. Jess is also helping me out with the business, and we are kind of starting a website. We're getting some merch launching, and we actually got an event soon that we're going to talk about, too, that we're both involved in. So we're going to dive into that too, but we wanted to make sure we make the message out there to people that we are having merch come soon. So we will be dropping the links for that, and we'll be showing images and stuff like that. So people are interested in buying the merch, just reach out to me, and we're going to have some a website out there so you can buy and purchase it as well. So we're excited for that. And obviously we're going to dive right into it, babe. So once again, thank you again for taking the time out of your day to come on. I know you're such a busy lady, so we appreciate you taking the time.
Of course. I just want to say hi, Nira.
Yes, tell Granny. Shout out Granny.
I know she's a loyal listener, so
that's right.
Sure
no, we love
her.
Absolutely, we love Granny. We need to get her on one day. Hopefully, she'll listen to this and get on. We can hope.
You're next.
That's right. That's right. So we're starting off with something a little festive here. What's one tiny win from this week that nobody saw but mattered to you?
I lost 2 pounds.
Okay. Lost 2 pounds. We'll take that. That's
a win's a win.
That's right. We'll take that. Nothing wrong with that, babe. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Lost 2 pounds. That's right. I know it's one of your big goals. And before you get into that, I guess let's update everybody on. You've been, I think, on the last podcast. I'm not sure if you were vegan or not. There was a lot of updates here. You want to update everybody on your lifestyle? Maybe what's influenced that?
Yeah, I mean, if it's that big of a deal, sure. Yes. I don't eat meat anymore. I used to always be that way, and I always felt better. So I went back to that. I do drink coffee and do drink soda, but I don't drink water.
Okay, fair enough.
But I feel a lot better not eating meat. I feel a lot better, being more mindful of my choices.
Yeah, no, I mean, the little things can help. I think I was stubborn at first when we first got in those conversations with you. I'm still stubborn. I pretty much eat candy all day, so I can't really talk much, but I do agree with that philosophy. So, but I do think that those little things that we do in our diet and our everyday lifestyles, that definitely impacts us. But it goes back to that story I always bring up too. And you got that lady that has made that joke about drinking Dr. Pepper and stuff. So you just never know. It's hard to say.
Different things work for different people.
Yes, I completely agree. But obviously, we're talking about Zen. Let's start with the stay-at-home topic. All right. So obviously, there's obviously every woman or every mother has a different situation. Some don't have help. Some have to do it all. Some whatever the case is that you're in. But for you, we're blessed in a sense that you're able to stay at home in that sense. And so along with that, obviously, there's still a lot going on with that too. It's not that it's an easy job. So maybe what would you say? What's the part of the day that quietly takes the most energy from you as a stay-at-home
mom? The mornings.
Okay.
Zen wakes up early, so you have to get up when you're not ready to, and you kind of have to start your day. So for me, getting that process started, it takes the most energy. But once we get into our routine, once we get moving, then we're okay. But yeah, that takes the most.
Fair enough. No, I mean, it's weird because it's very weird for me because when I first had Zen, I was a very morning person, and now my sleep schedule, I think lately I've been going to sleep at 4, so I was usually, you're up before me usually now, usually 30 minutes, and then I'll get up 30 minutes after because he's up or whatever. Yeah. So I would agree with that. It's
ever changing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. What's one boundary or routine that actually helps your sanity, you think, in a day?
I enjoy the nighttime routine. I enjoy, we have dinner, we do bath, and then, we all kind of relax. I enjoy that. I think that helps you wind down and helps him wind down. So then instead of everything being kind of high energy,
yeah,
there's no ending to it. It's like, oh, okay, now it's time to relax.
True.
So I I know that once about 8 or 9 o'clock comes around, he's gonna come calm down, and so then
Yeah.
I start to calm down. I start to relax, and then I might stay up a little bit after he's asleep. So I look forward to that.
No, yeah, like you said, I think the energy of him kind of matches the rest of the day. Like you said, all kind of revolves around his schedule. So like
Hmm.
whatever he's feeling kind of dictates how you are feeling, which is kind of goes hand in hand for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I guess let's say this: if you could outsource one task guilt free, what would it be and why?
I would love the dishes. I don't like the dishes.
Well, I do help you with
I
that. You're lucky on that. You're lucky on that. You're lucky on
I
that.
I don't mind doing them, but if I could outsource anything, I would.
How
It
about
would
that?
just be the
I'm shocked you
dishes.
said that, to be
I
honest.
uh I don't mind any other part of it. I can vacuum, I can do the laundry, but the dishes, man, every time the dishes.
Really? How about that? That shocks me, actually. That actually shocks me. I gotta say, for me, if I had to think, it would probably be laundry. For me, is hilarious. I don't mind doing laundry, but I just don't like putting it away.
Yeah,
I think that's everybody. Like, laundry's easy. Throwing it in the washer's easy. Putting it in the dryer's easy. Throwing it on closed mountain like we have
yeah,
is easy.
sounds
Uh,
awesome.
but yeah, without folding it, it's great. It's great. It's not bad at all.
Sorry, Granny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry.
Oh yeah, she's gonna kill you for that. Um, no, that's funny. Okay, so anything else you want to add for any state? Obviously, I want to add this part too in there. I know, for example, you've always talked about having issues finding people
Yeah,
that are in a not a similar situation per se, but like finding people that have openings when you do. Like for example, you're free at noon. Most people aren't. Like situations like that, or they have daycare, so they can't have, whatever the case is. So maybe you can expand on that from your situation, how you felt that's been kind of hard to deal with that, just because most kids, I would say, I don't know the percentage, but I'd say 80 to 90 are in daycare.
yeah, absolutely. I do think that's correct. I'm for always, whatever you have to do to make your situation work, I think we use a lot of other people to help us too. I think everybody should. Um, but it's hard to find people that to link up with, like to
Yeah.
say, oh, hey, I just want to go get chips, like let's just go hang out.
Yeah.
Because their schedule's different, or maybe they were stay-at-home mom, but now they can't afford to be, so now they work. So,
Correct.
your
Correct.
schedule changes often, but it's very hard in this area. It seems to find people that have that open schedule, which is it's not a priority, but it's
No.
more difficult than I thought it would be because I do think of the stay at home moms as like a whole different there's a whole category of people that are just stay at home moms, which is wonderful. Um, but in this area, I haven't met a lot of stay-at-home moms that have an open schedule or B are willing to say yeah it's 11 let's go do something
Yeah. Correct.
and so
Correct.
that for me that's tough because we're ready to go, you know what I mean, and so when we do have our friends that do want to do something, we jump on it right away and we're like let's
Yeah.
go, it's like gym at the 9 o'clock, okay let's go,
Yeah.
because when it comes down to it, you gotta stay busy,
No. Completely
and
agree.
the day's gonna pass by anyways, so you
Yep.
just gotta keep going.
Completely agree, and I'll add to that a little bit. I think, obviously, with our area, I don't know, in comparison to other areas, depending on what you know spot you're in, what kind of jobs you have, and what kind of industrialism you have, and commercialized businesses you have. For, excuse me, but for us, obviously, people that don't know, we have a very small place, like you said, so it's hard to find people that have that big money jobs because there's just not many of them. So I think it's just so hard for people to have a one source income especially in Delaware. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's very difficult to
it's
a
less and less
household
common.
or a married couple to have a one income be the sole one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just hard. I mean, like I said, it's just very difficult. So I feel for anybody out there that's wanted to bring that up, and talk about that. And also, I think the other part of it, I wanted you to bring up maybe with Cece,
Mhm.
because I know they came from, you said they're from Washington, but lived in Alaska.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted you to bring that up, talking about kind of the comparisons of, what that's been like living where they were to
Yeah.
coming here now, kind of like a culture shock, kind of in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. I, have a new friend. We go to the gym together. She has 3 kids, that are a lot older than 10. But we still get together and we still kind of just make the best of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're from, the Pacific Northwest, and they were in Alaska and they moved here last winter. And I just remember her saying that, when they left Alaska, it was already snowing, and they came here in October, and then it was kind of like still warm here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we would meet up at the park in the spring. We'd meet up at the park, and her kids would be wearing long sleeves. And she's like, I told them, they should wear short sleeves, but they're so used to the climate in Alaska that they
Yeah.
expect
Makes
it to
sense.
be cold
Makes sense.
when they come and moved here. So she said it took them a while to adjust to that
Oh,
because,
I bet.
and another thing that's really interesting is she told me that she always has a dehumidifier running because it's something that in this region that helps her feel like it's less hot.
Yeah.
Like they're used to the colder climate, so having a dehumidifier running makes it feel more tolerable for them. And
Yeah.
I thought that was so interesting because I don't know anyone from Alaska or Washington, so I thought that was so cool
No,
because
me
it's
either.
like
I've never met
um,
one either. No.
they're so they seem ready for adventure, like these are the kind of people that are gonna like put on their hiking boots and just go.
Yeah, no, it's
And
awesome. It's awesome.
in Delaware, I don't think I've met a lot of people like that.
No,
And so
no,
I,
no.
I I prefer the rough and tumbled, and
Yeah,
just go and have fun, and
absolutely.
then you have a lot more less rigidity and more just everything flows.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. No, I want you to definitely bring it up because that the only other person that I've met in my life that had a similar kind of culture thing. I had a buddy that grew up in the Hollies where we used to
Hmm.
live. His name is Dylan Garcia. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Shout out Dylan, but he's I sadly have nothing. We know nothing was wrong. We just kind of just went different ways. Haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah.
Um, but he was from Wyoming, and he came to school in middle school was when he came and they moved here, and I was in Wyoming. He was talking about I think there was nothing out there. I
Yeah,
mean, it was
yeah,
just
yeah.
nothing. So like when he came here, it's crazy to me because in Delaware we think we have
Oh,
nothing.
correct.
Like we all think there's nothing here, but like for him, this was like a lot.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
just it really painted that picture for me as a kid because we always talk about everybody's Delaware sucks. There's nothing to do here. It's like if I guess it comes in perspective. If you were from Wyoming
uh-huh.
you're like oh man there's a lot to do
Yeah,
here. This is
yeah,
like a city compared to
yeah.
where I'm
I,
from. So
I can understand that perspective, but there's still not a
there's
lot
no there's not
things to
but it
do.
is he really opened my mind with
Yeah.
that too because he came like to him it was awesome. I mean it was
Uh-huh.
just like there's so much to do here, because like compared to where he was from. So it was
Yeah.
just interesting to see that, like I think it's just like if we were from a desert, we would think this is great. So I mean, it's just the truth. But no, that's interesting because I do think that we goes back to I think we do take things for granted here in Delaware. I think obviously there is a lot more we could provide and have for the community wise for people
Yeah,
and
yeah.
kids, no doubt, no doubt. But I do think we also do over exaggerate how bad it is too sometimes.
I agree with both
Um,
sides.
yes, yes, I'm on, but I agree. Yes. So let's go different other topic here. Obviously, you got for the listeners here, we'll be open. I've never met your mom or father, person
Yes,
in
yes.
real. Actually, like I've seen your mother, but I've
Yeah.
never actually met her. So maybe for people listening that have a similar hardship in their family life, for maybe the best way I'll word it is for listeners who maybe cut ties with their family or just have distance with them. What would you say would for you is the hardest thing for you to kind of come to realization with in your life now for that?
Um, you know, before we met, it was still kind of that way. My mom wasn't really in the picture.
Before you go on, I got to make the joke that I said to you the first day. I got to give that on here because that was too good. And it's amazing that we're married after I said this, to be fair. But I have to do, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I have to before you get going. So rethink what you have to say, make sure I didn't mess you up. But I made a joke when we were first meeting. I believe it was our first date.
Yeah,
It was our
it was
first
one of the
date.
first times we hung out. Yeah.
It was our first date, and we got talking at one point, and we were at the house, and I made a joke and I said, "It's a good thing I don't have to meet your parents." And as she told me all the stuff, as she don't talk to them and all this stuff, and I had the balls to somehow make that joke, and I felt awful immediately. Once I spit it out, I knew what I said, and I was like, I fucked up. That was
I
terrible.
think
Awful joke, awful joke. But anyway, go on.
I think he felt worse about that than I did. Like it was the truth, and I'm more of that like, okay, humor's gonna hurt, but that's what makes it funny kind.
It's
So
an
like,
awful joke.
I know that I laughed. Then I was like, man, that was kind of.
It was bad. It was a bad, terrible, one of the worst
But
jokes I've ever made.
you know, um, they, my mother and my father were not a part of my life, and I didn't grow up with my dad, and I grew up with my mom until recently when we had met. She wasn't part of my life anymore,
Yes.
and so at that point I was used to them, like I was used to my dad not being there, and that was fine. But not having my mom was really, really hard on me. And as time went on, I just had to get to a point where I just said that, um, I can't make all the effort for them, and they have to earn a spot in your life, and if they don't want to, you can't force them.
Yeah.
But you also have to look at life for what it is, and the way that life is, is my life's a lot better without them. And so, while that's also painful, you have to realize that um, it's just how it's supposed to be,
Yeah, sad as that
And
is.
if
Yeah.
if I, didn't have Sen, I wouldn't care as much as I do about it now. Like about now, I'm kind of like WTF,
Yeah.
um, for his sake.
Correct.
But
Correct.
it's really no better to force people to be in your life
Yeah.
and to be around.
I
We
agree.
should never, in a relationship, in anything, if they don't want to be there, why should they have to be?
Completely
And
agree.
so I just had to, and I still try to make peace with it. But life moves on, and there's a lot of other things that are wonderful about my life. So not having them isn't as big of a blow that I thought it would be.
No, fair enough. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. So I guess to piggyback off that a little bit, a boundary that you're proud you held, even if it was tough in the moment, as in that from that aspect from the family.
I mean, I recently said, if you're unwilling to, make the effort for my family or meet my husband or my son, then I don't want to have a relationship with you, And so
Correct. I mean, I
that
think
is
that's normal.
a very tough boundary to say out loud.
Yeah.
I realized I have these boundaries in my mind, and I'm not like, hey, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
So I told him how I felt, and it was met with a lot of negativity. So then you learn where you stand, and you learn your place. And when you learn your place, then you can't feel disappointed.
Well, yeah, no,
I
yeah.
think underneath it all, I always knew that, but I just hoped for better. So,
Yeah, and there's
and
nothing
I
wrong.
think
I agree with
everyone
that.
does,
Correct.
but
Correct.
like I said, life moves on, and I'm gonna have a great life, whether or not they're here. But I think that they were the type of people, well, for both of them, that thought that they kind of made or break my life, and
Yeah.
you can't put that on them. They have their own life, they have their own things going on, and other things, and that's that.
Yeah. No, there's nothing like you said. All we can do is control. We can control. We can't control other people's actions. There's sometimes as crappy as that is, that's just the truth.
The truth hurts, but
And that is.
it gets better.
That's true. And going along with that, I guess we'll ask this to be the other question. We'll wrap this section up. What does family mean to you now, and how do you feel that you've redefined it?
Yeah, family. I learned a lot through all these years. Always being there for my siblings, always being there for my family. All these things. I learned so much in that process, but family really is who you choose and what you make it to be.
Yeah.
So if you want a good family life, then make a good family life. But like I said, you can't force people to participate in their life. So you can still have a great life without forcing people to be there. So my version of family is the people that I know that if I call them, they're gonna answer.
Yeah.
And I know that if I'm in distress or I'm upset, they'll talk to me for a few minutes just to make me feel better. And I know that I would do the same for them,
Yeah.
And so for me, that's enough.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I like that. I like that. I'm right there with you. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Because I think I've told you, I've tried to get you to, talk. And like I said, I think I've learned that, sometimes people just don't want to change. And that's the hardest part, I think, for me that I've learned to accept, and have taken different routes, and just all you can do is do what you're doing. If they don't listen, if
Yes.
they don't, for example, if I'm trying to spread a good message, nobody else listens, that's fine. I can't
Yeah.
control what you
Yeah.
do. I can't control how you perceive it. I can't control how you perceive. Just like we talked about before with lyrics, I've had my lyrics used against me 24 times. Just because somebody takes it, interprets it some way, doesn't mean I wrote it that way.
Of course.
So it goes back to the Bible. You can take that to anything, but we all pick and choose what we like to see. And I think,
Yeah.
that's what it goes back to, that they feel that they've done what, in their head, they're content. And apparently, whether we think that or not, they are.
But
So,
you have to be respectful of that too.
correct,
That's their
correct,
journey, their life,
correct.
and I felt like I really tried hard to um, not be a B word to them when I got offended or when I, felt some kind of way. But I came with a softer approach and nothing
Yeah,
changed. So I learned that it wasn't something within me, it's something
correct.
within them. And so when I look at it that way, then I say, okay, well, this is the default in you.
Yes.
And so maybe in my eyes you're wrong, but maybe in your eyes I'm wrong. So
It's just, yeah,
it's just gonna
we're at a
be what it
stalemate.
is.
Yeah,
And
yep.
I can't change it.
Yeah, sometimes that's how a lot of situations are, sadly. But yeah, well, hopefully we can find ways to deal with that a little better. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. But let's go to marriage and teamwork. Let's do some. Everybody love everybody here in action. So I'm gonna ask you this question. Don't take this the wrong way. You know what I'm gonna say here. When you need to tap out, what's the best signal we can use on busy days? Are you just gonna scream at me, or what are we doing here? I
Probably.
figured. I figured that's what we were
I
gonna
mean,
say.
I mean, I might text you, but if I
Texting, screaming.
if I have enough energy, I'd probably pick up the
Yeah.
phone and call you and say,
Get the
"Listen, I'm
get the
I'm at
in
my
here.
limit, and you need to step in."
Uh-huh. I've had those calls are great. I enjoy those. They're always
Hey,
good.
I spoke clearly.
Yeah, but yeah, you tell me to express myself, so here you go.
Here I
Handle it.
am.
Deal with it. All right. What would you say? I know we got a lot of different things we could try to do. Like I'm gonna try to get a little deeper for people, try to
Mhm.
give people an insight. What's some behind the scenes things that we do that you think that actually works for us that other people could use?
In their marriage,
Yeah.
uh, uh, I guess I feel like we think of each other more throughout our day than maybe other people do, right?
That's
So,
very
like for
true.
instance, like if you were to go shopping, you'll be like, "Oh my God, like I picked this up for you because I just thought you'd like it." Like,
Yeah.
and it's like a box of waffles, but it's something so small that made such a big difference. So I feel like we're both really good at that. Where it's like, you see something on the road, and you're like, "Oh, I have to call, like I have to tell her about it. She's gonna like
Yeah.
I seen an alpaca, like oh my, And so
Mhm.
it's those little moments where it's not really significant, but over time they become significant because it's a way to connect with someone,
Yes.
so like if I were to go outside and see an alien, I'd be like, oh my, like babe, like oh my God,
I pray to God you do. That'd be
I
hilarious.
wouldn't be like, here you go, face. Like I'd be like, babe, like oh my God, you know what I mean? But that's me thinking of you and keeping your feelings and keeping you close to me. And I would say I think we do a lot of that and a
Yeah.
lot of this is for your enjoyment.
Yes. I completely agree. That's what I would have said too. The only other thing I will add, obviously, we're lucky because of my job that we're able to
Yeah,
do this, but we also, I think, have more communication than anyone I know. And it may not be through physical, but we are lucky. There's days where me and you have had 12, 13-hour phone calls.
always.
Where we literally just talk. I don't know. I've never personally met another couple that can do that.
Yeah,
And consistently do it without being pissed or mad at each other.
yeah,
So I do give that a lot of because I kind of use that like for all my friends. They're gonna get mad at me listening to this, but for all my friends that are single or something, or always kind of ask me, how do I find something that's good, good and long term and stuff like that. And I'll use that analogy all the time. I say, dude, like the minute I knew we were good, like was when we were compatible like that. We could
yeah.
literally be on the phone, even if there was nothing said. Sometimes it would piss me off. There's
Yeah,
times it
yeah,
does,
yeah,
but a lot of times we can literally be on the phone as long as our energies are together. We're happy, and that's huge, man. But if you find someone that loves you, they will do that. I mean, it's the effort. I think it goes back to the effort, and you have to want to be involved with someone 24/7, want to be with
yeah.
them. And if you're
It's a
not,
conscious choice.
but yeah, but that to me is a huge proving and depiction of someone if you're willing. Not saying you have to do that to have us. That's not what I'm trying to say. But you can find someone that's willing to go to those kind of lengths to keep you guys connected and communicating well. That's huge. I mean, that's half the battle to me because I don't think a lot of people do that.
And to be fair, initially that started because we both had like, kind of like same work schedule.
Yeah,
So in order to keep up with each other or
that's true.
to feel like we could connect and anything like that,
That's
we would
true.
just be on the phone. So like for
It's
instance,
kind of
there'd be
just kept
times
up.
that
Yeah,
you couldn't talk because you're working, or there'd be times that I'm like whispering, I'm
no,
like
yeah, because you're yeah,
or the classic like we're on the phone for like 12 hours and I'm like, can you just give me like 2 seconds? Like I can't talk right now. Like I'm texting you as we're like on the phone. But that's initially why that started. And then after I stopped working, we still just kept doing that. And so I think that it's important to stay connected, but it is nice to be able to talk to someone for that long. I didn't think about that.
yeah. But I just think it proves your commitment of someone.
Of course.
I mean, not saying like I said, if you have a 12-hour phone call that they're the one. I mean, that's not what I'm sitting here saying. But you get what I mean. Like if
I
you
mean, if you
could,
made it that far, that's great.
yeah. But if you continuously have that communication, that's what a
Well,
marriage
I believe
is.
our first communications were that long too.
Yeah,
We had long
we
conversations
did.
for a long time before we met. So I think that
100%.
that is also something else you could look for. It's just that being able to have a conversation with someone.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Um, All right, let's go this route. I know we talked about this. I know obviously it's getting a little closer for us. I think you said that I didn't look into it. I know you were talking about there's some updates on it. Maybe is there any updates that you talked about the school count vaccinations and stuff? Weren't you saying there was something that you were talking about that came out
Yeah,
recently?
so the governor of Florida, I believe, Governor DeSantis, I think it's governor, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Anyways,
DeSantis. You're right. You're right.
I didn't know his political term. The governor.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
He is trying to change the mandates on vaccinations to go to school. So that would be, the mandate isn't there. So when you go to the doctor, you're not forced to get it if you're at a doctor that doesn't allow you to opt out of it,
Correct.
right? Otherwise, it leads you down this path of, you're going to be in trouble and you didn't do this and you didn't do that. So finding a doctor that is tolerant of non-vaccination is also very difficult. I don't think a lot of people realize that. It's like, oh, I'll just choose to not vaccinate, and then it's like you take it to the doctor, and then you feel bad, you're pressured, all these things, and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was moving to remove that. And then I think the other stuff was just like rumors. I don't think there was anything serious. I think that was the only serious thing that
Okay.
had come about.
So, but as of right now, it would just be Florida though that has that in place, though. As far as you know.
Eventually, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not even in place yet. It's just a proposed.
I
It's
think
proposed.
they were moving to do it.
So it's proposed. Okay.
So
So it's not even okay.
they're
Okay.
it's serious enough that they're moving to do it.
Correct, but it's not went through the court. And okay, it's not in law yet. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
there was another state that actually did something. I just can't recall it in my mind. It was something like, uh, I don't know. Kentucky comes to my mind, but I know it's not Kentucky. But it was some state that was changing something about the schools. Um, oh, okay, that's what it was. I'm sorry. It was that you didn't need a religious uh, exemption,
Yeah.
or it was easier to get the religious exemption. There's specific terminology in each state about how you can get a religious exemption from the vaccines when you put your kid in school. And this was like an easier way for people to access that. I'm sorry, I'm incorrect. You're supposed to wait like 2 or 3 days to get it or something, and
Okay.
they're just trying to streamline the process so that it was easier for people. Because you have to figure if it's really difficult for people to do all, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's kind of a way to shoo people
That's
away from
true.
doing it. So this state, I don't know which state, was making it easier to get that form so that you can have, no
No.
vaccinations
Yeah.
when you go to school.
Fair enough.
So it was kind of nice to see that some other states are doing it, because eventually, we might have, you know, just no mandates. That would be nice.
Yeah, we can
I would hope for
certainly
that.
hope, babe. Um, we can certainly hope. And I wanted to bring this up. Okay, I didn't know that. We'll have to look into that more for
Yeah,
next one
yeah,
too. I have to dive into that 'cause that's interesting. 'Cause I remember you talking about the Florida one. I
yeah,
didn't. Yeah, I do remember that. That's one I wanted you to bring up. So hopefully more. I agree that it should be more of a choice. Like you said, I get why they have that argument. Like you don't want somebody there that's carrying a disease and makes everybody sick. And I get the argument, but we it's a hard line. It's a
yeah.
hard
Well,
line.
well,
It's a
just
hard
removing the
line.
mandate gives you an option to choose without being pressured and without
Correct.
feeling bad.
I agree.
So not having mandate, you could go to the doctor and say, well, I want this one, but I don't want this one, and you wouldn't feel bad, and you wouldn't be, outed, and you
Yeah.
wouldn't be, said you need to find a new
I
doctor.
agree.
So for me, that leaves it up to personal choice, which is what we should have anyways.
Yeah, because
We
we're
should have our
almost
own choice.
not providing care for people that
Yeah,
choose a different
correct,
belief than what's aligned with the hospital,
correct.
which is to me
So removing
shitty.
the mandate makes it where if you choose to get it, then we're so happy for you.
Yeah,
But if we
I
choose
agree.
not to, we're not in trouble and we're not feeling scrutinized because that was a choice that we made.
Completely agree. Completely agree. All right. I know you are in a lot of Facebook groups. I'm not a big Facebook guy, but I know you're in a lot of Facebook groups. We are on the Facebook though, if you check us out. But what is? I know there's a lot of stuff going on. I know you've had a lot of marketplace stuff that you've done with giving stuff to people, or
Mhm.
picking stuff up, or selling stuff, or trying to find even stuff for the podcast for us. I know you've had a lot of crazy, crazy comments. So what would you say with your experience? Number one, give me some experiences that you want to bring up, and then also when parents disagree or people online disagree online or whatever it is on health topics. How do we try to go about that? Because I know you've had a lot of situations where people who have just been kind of very rude and just
Yeah,
very. You just want to
yeah.
explain that a little bit.
I have been on Facebook for ages, so there's so many situations that come to my mind. So I'm just gonna, just off the
Yeah,
top.
no problem.
Most recently, I had been looking for supplies to make for a nonprofit,
Hmm.
and I was just making some crafts to sell for them to raise money. And I wasn't keeping anything for myself. I wasn't, doing anything, out of the ordinary. This woman had something to give, and I drove home and I forgot to pick it up. And I texted her and I said, I'm so sorry. Like, I absolutely forgot to get this. I'm going to be on your side of town tomorrow. Do you mind if I just pick it up in the morning? She had left it on her porch. It was safe on her porch, completely
Yes,
fine.
I do.
And
Yeah, I do remember this one now.
and she texted me. She said, if you want to get it, you can come pick it up right now. And if you don't, then I'm going to donate it. And I was like, if you choose to donate, I totally understand. I appreciate the consideration. And I'm so sorry that I forgot. And she was like, okay, well, better luck next time. And I thought to myself, it's like, you spent all this extra energy to be rude to me when it could have cost you no energy to leave it on your porch,
Better
right?
luck. Good
And
luck.
I've never had
Sorry.
somebody, converse with me that way. I'm sure there's a couple of situations at Facebook prior,
Yeah,
but
you've told me a few.
that
I know you've
being
had a few where
so
I'm like, what the?
blatant, I thought it was so rude. And I just thought it was so rude because I feel like I give away a fair share of things. If I don't want something or I know that somebody else can use it, I'm like, here you go, here you go, here you go.
Yeah.
And so it's not like I just ask for something. And so it
Yes.
seemed really unfair to be talked to that way when I just made a simple mistake.
Yeah.
And so there's that, but there are a lot of groups on Facebook, and I don't think a lot of people realize, if you're interested in something, for instance, if you find a lot of UFO groups, and
Yes.
they could, say this and that, and you find out all this information. So it's the same as when you're a woman and you're a parent, you go to all these, crunchy groups or non-toxic living or whatever, and when you enter these groups, they're very specific. It's like,
Yep.
we don't talk about this, we don't talk about that. If you talk about this, there's a code word for it. There's all these things. So based on what group you're in is what information you're going to see and what they
Correct.
talk about. But there's a lot of groups that I joined that seem so innocent, and it's literally just women bashing each other.
It's
And
insane.
it's like hundreds of thousands
It's
of people in
terrible.
these groups, and I was a part of it. And I was like, the first couple days, I'm like, oh, this is exciting, like new drama. And I'm reading like a whole 10-page book about somebody that I don't know, and I'm like, well, why am I wasting my time on this? For them to just say negative things to each other,
Yeah.
and it's like there's a difference between venting and just being mean. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of
Well said.
people get on there and want to feel better about
Hmm.
themselves. And I think that's social media as a whole. But I think that, if you're just going to hide behind a screen and be mean to people, you shouldn't participate,
Yeah. Couldn't agree
So
more. Sorry for that, Phyllis.
so I just choose to I kind of like lurk in groups and I read all the information and I see what people say, but I never comment. I never really interact because it it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of work to constantly fight people on how you feel when you could just
Yeah.
feel how you feel in your own home and be fine.
Yes.
And so these people are like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I have 3 kids, and they have 6 months apart, and this, and it's all. So you've obviously got your hands full. Your hands are obviously full, and you're spending a lot of extra time to prove to people your sorrows
Yeah.
and sympathy and feel bad for me and everything. And it's like, okay, but what if you took that time and that energy and just put it back into your kids, or put it into self-care,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't realize that they waste so much time on social media doing things
Yes.
that don't even matter and will not matter in 10 years, 5
Yes.
years, 2 years. It will
Yes.
not matter. And that would be why people do act that way, is because it doesn't matter.
Yes.
So it matters to people that care and that say you shouldn't be doing that. But
Mm.
at the end of the day, in 2 years, it's not going to matter if you said better luck next time, because I don't know who you are and I'm
Yep.
never going to know you. And you can hide behind that screen. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And so it becomes this thing where you just have to say, okay, thanks, goodbye, because it's too exhausting.
Yeah.
For me, it's exhausting to
I
keep up with these
understand.
people.
I understand. To be fair, the reason I wanted to bring that up because, like, for that, it's weird that people take it that way too. Because, like you said, you're just literally picking up somebody for free, and they have nothing to, like, it's not inconveniencing them at all. So it makes no sense to me. Number one, but I bring it to, like, for me, I understand. Like, for example, I've done music and podcasting all the time. I've had a lot of good things sent. I've had a lot of bad things
Yeah,
sent to
of
me.
course, of
So
course.
you deal with a lot of that. But when I get it, I understand it in a sense because I'm promoting something, and people are just going to say whatever they want to say, and that's fine. People like just hate, like you said. People just enjoy
Yeah.
hating for whatever reason. No one really supports. That's okay. But that's the business I'm in. I get that.
Yeah.
But you're not pushing a product. You weren't. You're not promote. You're literally just say, hey, I'm going to pick this up from your door. I'll get it. Kind of get it when I can. To me, that makes no sense why anybody would feel the need to even do that. Like,
It
it
wouldn't
doesn't
make
make sense to me. I
sense.
get it from my standpoint for yours, but that situation, yeah, we gotta do better. That makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Completely free.
But I'm glad you brought that up. Um, Obviously, talking about the nonprofit, we're both going to be involved in that. Obviously, you're involved a little more than I am. I'm just going to help out with the event that they're having. But if
Mhm.
you want to maybe talk about the day-to-day process that at least you know of. I know they're trying to still get it running, this is it's a global, not global, but it's all across the country. But and just in our region, slowly they're trying to build it right now, right? Because they're not pretty much started yet, so they're just building the
Right.
foundation.
So
So maybe you can expand on
our
the process right now.
our chapter is opening soon. Our leaders are have to attend a training from the company. It's a nonprofit. They have over 350 chapters worldwide. They're still expanding. It's not a lot in all the other countries, but it's mostly just North America.
Yeah,
Um, but it's they're called Sleep in Heavenly Peace, and they build beds for kids that don't have any beds. And it's
amazing.
completely free. You sign up online, and you get added to a database, and basically the people that are on the team in that chapter raise the money and do a build day, and they build beds, and then eventually it gets delivered to the person. And there's certain qualifications and stuff like that to get a bed. Um, not never anything crazy. But like for instance, you've got to have permanent housing, and you've got to
Correct.
have
There's only
be under
handing them out.
18,
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So it's to me it's a very unique mission. I didn't realize that was such a problem. Like I think if I sat down and thought about it and I said, wow, how many kids don't have a bed? Like
yeah,
you think in your mind, okay, probably a lot, but I'm not thinking my neighbor. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
so that nonprofit, comes to our area and says, we're still trying to reach more people. We're still trying to help. We're still trying to do these things. So I decided to get involved because I thought it was a very different way of helping people that's out of the norm,
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy to be a part of that.
No, absolutely. And when this comes out, we're actually already had the event.
Oh, great.
So this will be October 22nd, I believe. So this will be after the event. So obviously we can't really promote it, or I was going to try to promote it if you get what I'm saying. So there's
That's
no
completely
use to
fine.
promote it. But obviously, if you want to I want you to give the name of the organization too, so people we'll throw that up top for Josh can send that up top so people can at least see it and maybe get some information about it.
It's called Sleep in Heavenly Peace.
Yes.
SHP, and a lot of these people do all this out of the goodness of their hearts. So
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
a
It's a great
wonderful
message.
uh, chapter. Will open very soon, and we'll have our event.
Yep.
And we're just getting together to raise a bunch of money. It's just a kids' day,
Yep.
and I'll be selling some stuff to raise money for them.
Yep.
Um, and it should just be a nice time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, we promoted more if it was going to be there, but sadly, but definitely
All good.
we'll put the company name up and everything so people can go,
Absolutely.
give to. I'm sure there's a link to send money
Yeah.
to, right? Okay, just make sure we have that up there so people can at least find it. Um, but obviously, that's a very good reason I was happy about you getting behind it too. We all need to do stuff better like that as long as we know where the money's going, and that's where it gets deep. We talked about this before, as you know, with your background, with your family, with nonprofit stuff.
Yes.
Um, there's a lot of mess and greed involved in a lot of that stuff and scandals, everything. I mean, there's just a lot of bad stuff that goes along
Yeah.
with a lot of things at that top level. You can bring that to a lot of the organizations. So we do gotta you always make sure that you do your due diligence and make sure that the money is going where it needs to be. And I think you have. I'm saying, and obviously, I want you to also one thing I want you to bring up is the amount that it costs to
Yes.
build a bed,
Yes.
which I don't think many people are aware of.
So, if you're confused about where money goes in an organization, your best bet is to get involved. And your
Yes.
best bet is to say, hey, you know what? I am part of the groundworks effort. And so, therefore, I know and I can see not only my efforts and my contribution, but other people's contribution goes somewhere. We have a direct link that goes straight to the organization since our chapter isn't open yet.
Yes.
And so you're not donating to Jessica. You're donating to the organization. And so that's what it is. There's a lot of different funds that we have to raise money for. We need a storage unit. We have to buy lumber. We have to buy tools. We have to buy bedding. We have to buy pillows. Everything. And I didn't really keep that in mind when I joined. And so I just the other day I just learned that it costs. Well, first off, they make twin beds and they also make twin bunk beds, and that's what we are able to do, and that's all that it is that I'm aware of. And it costs $300 to make a twin bed because that includes the frame, the mattress protector, the sheets, the pillow, and the pillowcase.
Because you got to supply all
You
that.
have to
Stuff.
buy everything brand new. You can't just drop off
A bed not ready to
frame
go.
and no mattress.
Not ready to go.
You can't drop off the whole bed and then they have no pillow. You
I
have to
understand.
give them the complete experience.
That makes sense.
And so when I sat down and thought about it, I was like, wow, that makes so much more sense. But I didn't realize it could cost that much. So for the bunk beds, it's $600.
Correct.
So when you think about long term, okay, well, I want to help 20 people in my community. Well, 20 times 300. I mean, that's a big thing. That's a big burden. And so as I've spoke to you before, there's an organization, I'm not sure where they're located, but there's a chapter of this organization somewhere in the United States. And I seen on their Facebook page that they just delivered their 6,000th bed. So they've raised the money, they've delivered, they've built them, all these they've done, and they've reached 6,000 beds.
Yeah.
And you say,
it's amazing.
My goodness, that is crazy. And so it just makes you kind of realize that A, it is possible, but B, it's only possible with people that are willing to help.
Yes, and you got to have the right heart.
Everybody has something to offer.
You got to have the right message behind, like you said. Yep, you got to have the passion for it, like you said.
So
that's the key.
When you go to delivery day and drop off a bed to a kid and you set it up and they've never had a bed.
Yeah, that's got to be a great feeling. Yeah.
I just went to their page this morning and the 15-year-old fighting cancer has never had a bed and they just dropped one off.
That's awesome. We love that.
And
awesome.
So that's why they do that, is because their motto is no kid sleeps on the floor in our town. But like I said, I wasn't thinking that my neighbors would be going through
something we don't think about. Absolutely.
So it really opens your eyes to a lot of different things. And also, I've always volunteered, especially when I was a kid, but I don't think I got to be a part of something with such a big impact.
Correct. With a good message behind it. Yes.
That for me is super exciting to be involved in, because it's like, oh, okay, I will have an important job, but I'll really make a big difference.
Completely agree. And the only thing I will add to that is, I know you talking about the cost. You said initially it started at 200 or 250, and then with COVID it made it bump to 300, right? So it only got bumped now because of I'm assuming with tariffs and that
they say
materials costing more.
We're gonna pay at least $275 to $300 per bed.
Yeah.
And that's just that.
So COVID basically bumped it a whole $100 in a sense.
And then we have all these other rising costs.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So you think about it and you're like, okay, well, things are only going up, so we're just going to have to keep working harder.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to this, because I know you're thankfully you've kind of stepped in. You're helping me out with my stuff here. So we're talking about our brand a little bit here. I wanted to ask you this. I thought this would be an interesting question for you. If you were creative director for a day, what's one change or experiment that you would try to greenlight in our business?
Oh, I feel like I say things to you, man.
You don't know. I don't have to put you on the spot. You can think about it. I thought you'd have something I thought you'd have something ready to be like, yeah, you need to do.
When you're a team, you kind of like, it's kind of like being married. You generally.
Oh, we do go bounce off each other anyway.
Like you say, like, are you gonna wear that? Like, and then okay, well, I probably shouldn't wear that. So instead of being like, what's wrong with you, what you're wearing? You kind of just gently, And I feel like all the time, I'm like, we should try this, or you should do that.
You do.
Or you should, and there was something I wish I could remember, but.
Oh, you've had a few things you've told me over the last few years, for sure. No doubt. I don't know a certain one in particular that I
can't think of anything off the top of my head, because I don't keep the score like that.
No, well, good. I'm glad. Well, I do, and it's I'm winning. Just, I love you. But I wanted you to bring this up, because this is I think one that you did teach me. Learning when to say no to things.
Oh, okay.
Especially not in my personal life and my business life. Because I'm one of these people that everyone knows me. I will give you the shirt off my back. I'd give you the skin off my body. I would literally, that's just who I am. That's just the person I am. And a lot of times I get, obviously, taken advantage of and used a little bit for that. And because just my nature, I wouldn't change it. I'm still going to be that way. I'd
Of
rather be
course.
taken advantage of and than I would to be an absolute asshole.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Like I said, people may disagree with that, but that's my opinion. But you've kind of taught me to walk that line a little better, along with some of my friends that are differently aligned than I am. But I think I've learned to find a better balance. Like recently, we've had a situation, we don't need to get into it, but we had to kind of let go of someone and
Of course.
had to go a different direction.
Of
And there's
course.
a lot of times, I got to find ways to in my life to say no to people. For example, like say somebody's calling me, and I got stuff I'm doing, but yet I usually take tip them, even if no, I'm doing say I'm going to stop it and make sure you're good first, which is still going to do that. But I've got to find better ways to I think say no, and you've taught me that a lot. And in the business, you have to, and that's one thing I have to realize that you can't just please everybody, and that's one of the hardest things I think in my life that I've had to accept and learn is that I
Yeah.
can't please everybody and I can't make everybody happy. And I try. I always will still try, but it's the one thing, it's the hardest thing to accept that I do think you have given me for that, though.
Well, I'm glad to give you something.
Yeah. Give me my son, too. But
Of
yes, but
course.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very hard lesson to learn. I think that I had that problem a lot in my life where, especially when I was a kid, I never really said no to anyone. And my goal was always helping other people. And I was like, okay, how can I make their life better? How can I? So in doing that, I always emptied my cup and I never had anybody that poured into my cup. So then that left me really not well for a long time. And so to get to a point of feeling well, it was very difficult because I didn't know how. So when you learn how to say no, you set a boundary, and a boundary is good for everyone. The boundary isn't I don't like you. The boundary is, I need, time for me to. I need space for me to. And I always admired that about you that, like anybody can call you and you're going to pick it up. But there are other times where I'm like, it's a sense of entitlement. It's kind of the same with the parents. There's an entitlement. They think that they're entitled to see Zen, just the same as the people that are in your life are like, oh, okay, he'll pick up the phone. He might be busy, he might be working, but he's going to pick up the phone. But when you look at that from a different lens, it's an overstep,
Yeah,
right? So you say, hey, reach out to me if you need me. Absolutely, of course. But there are times where it's an overstep, and I think a lot of people could be more mindful of that in every aspect because there's times that I don't answer the phone because
yeah.
I'm too busy. It doesn't mean I don't care about you,
No, I agree with that.
but
I agree with that.
it's a boundary for myself that hey, I have my hands full, so I'm not going to get involved in what you have going on until I can. So I think it's great that you're always there for people, and I think a lot of people rely on that more than they would admit. But for your own well-being, you have to have that boundary with people, and even in a business aspect where people aren't able to take advantage of you.
Yeah,
And it's something that's always evolving. You're
yeah,
always going to be able to
yeah.
say, hey, of course I have love for everyone. Of course I could be there for you. But for this 2 seconds, I'm busy,
Yeah, no, you're
and
right.
that's
It's
it.
hard for me to. I know it's still hard for me, but yeah, no, you're 100% right. I don't know. I guess I think that's one of my hardest ever. I don't think it ever will be fixed, but that's just how I am. But no, you're right. We can always learn to do better each day. That's all we can do is try to find a better
1% better,
balance each day, and that's really all we can do,
of
babe.
course.
Um, but I want to ask you this. I think this is one good thing I want you to say. What's one message you would want to send to moms listening who feel alone today?
Well, I don't want to quote anyone, but I recently heard a quote from
As
Mr.
long
CK.
as you say who it is, because as long as it's not our quote, yeah, you're good.
Mr. Charlie Kirk. He said, "Stay-at-home moms are heroes." And that kind of mentality, where you're viewed as a hero, not only makes you feel better, but just hearing that and it feeling genuine, could change your whole entire day. You're
Yeah,
like, oh my god, wow, like someone thinks I'm that great, like cool, because you forget, right? So you're spending all of your time likely with people that can't actually converse with you, right? So if I'm with Sen all day, I can
yeah,
talk to him. I can say, dude, I'm stressed out. Like, I'm plus, it doesn't mean a thing to him. So I'm not really having a conversation with him. And until your child's a certain age, you can't really have that banter where they can understand your struggles,
correct, correct.
right? So as a stay-at-home mom, if you've got even more than one kid, you're kind of underwater
Yeah, that's
because
the
you're
other. Yeah,
just talking to
true.
yourself all the time.
Yeah,
And so you rely on, your partner and maybe your parents and other people to have those conversations, other stay-at-home moms that understand your situation, XYZ. Um, but when it really comes down to it, we are all heroes, but the stay-at-home moms are a different breed of hero.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. That's fair. That's fair. Well, we're all heroes.
We are. We are. I mean,
Yes, I agree.
everyone's great, wonderful,
We don't
but
need to.
the
We're gonna
stay-at-home
have
moms, I mean,
people
sorry,
thinking, hey, if you're a working mother, you're
you wish you
terrible.
could be
That's
like
geez,
me.
not what we're saying. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Good Lord, babe. We're gonna. What is this? This is not. What the heck?
It's
No.
all good heart.
We
It's
love
just,
everybody. Love everybody. That's all that matters. But yes, all moms are good moms if
of
they
course
try,
they
as
are.
long as they're trying. But
Of course.
one more thing I'll leave you with. What's one message you would send the partners who want to help their partner but don't really know how to? I do think I think that's a big thing for a lot of people. We deal with that too. I think it's hard to
there's a
find
lot
when
of
what to do and when to help.
subtle maybe gestures or things that are said to your partner, and it's so subtle you don't realize it's that important. But
Yeah.
as I said, you gently mention it, you gently ease into it, and you hope that they respond, and then they don't, you're disappointed. So listen to these little messages, listen to these little things that they have to say to you, because even if they're just complaining about someone telling them better luck next time, it was a big part of their day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big part in how it makes them feel. So
Absolutely.
you've got to take that time and listen to what they have to say, without distractions,
Yes.
and listen to these little subtle things, because women will tell you what they want
Yeah.
easily,
Yeah.
but you have to be listening.
That's one thing I have learned a lot in. I think you always say to me, yes, yes, yes. Well said. Good
Nobody's
marketing.
listening.
Good marketing. But no, I think there's one thing you always talk about. I want you to bring this up too, because that's one thing. Because I used to be the opposite, and that's one thing I think I've learned a lot, and I do think people can understand. Because I used to be the opposite in this, in my patience.
Yeah.
Talk about how you get mad at me for not opening cards or boxes, and I have utter patience when it comes to stuff and other things. It's very odd. I used to have no patience at all, and other things now I can literally be like, for example, poker. 3 or 4 years ago, I could have never played poker because it takes too long and it's too patient. My mental could have never, I couldn't have handled poker. It would have took too long. I would have been irritated. I would have just been mad and this has got to hurry up. I'd be just antsy like this the whole time. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on, get the cards out. Now I can sit there and play it all night. So like my whole, and it's not just poker, but it's other things too that I've become that way with. But never was that the case. It's become that way now. Actually, I think it's just age and maturity. But maybe you can feel it because, like I said, because you think I'm like that. But like I said, that just recently has become that way
I
for me. But I think that's an interesting topic for people.
I thought that you were generally patient, like
Oh
especially with
yeah,
me and stuff like
and
that. But
yeah,
there's another type of patience, that you're talking about, and it's like,
that's true. There's two.
for
Yeah, that's
instance,
true. That's a
like
good point. There's
if I'm to get
emotional.
a package in the mail, I don't care how insignificant it is. If it's just diapers,
Well,
I'm gonna open it immediately.
you would have got married at the post office though if we could have. To be
I
fair,
would have,
because you
but
love the post office.
that's irrelevant. If I get a card in the mail, if I have leftovers, I'm gonna eat them immediately.
Yeah, that's
Whereas, like
true.
for instance, like
That's
that's like
true.
a rushing through your life kind of thing. Like you're always rushing to the next thing. Like so, if I get the mail, I'm gonna open it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, wow, I opened the mail. But then I met some other people, and they would open their mail with scissors, and I'd be like, well, that's gonna take much longer, but it's so much smarter. And I thought to myself, I would have never thought to use scissors. I would have just sat there for 20 minutes trying to open it because I had to get it open. And I thought to myself, I made this so much harder because I was rushing through.
That's
And
true.
so, for instance,
I've
you'll get a
definitely
card
agree
in the
with that.
mail
I agree with
and
that.
you're going to open it, but you're not in a rush to open it. And you're like, well, whatever happened. Like, for instance, you got a card from somebody on your route and they said, Merry Christmas to you. And you brought it home and you put it on the counter and you went in the shower. I opened it for you.
It's true. You came back and told me what it was. Like,
I was like, there
what?
you go. I was waiting all day to hear what happened.
Oh, that is so
So
true. I
I
forgot. I'm glad that was a great one.
so
Yeah.
but it comes down to either you're rushing through, or you're not rushing through. But there's more people that instantly want that gratification. They instantly
That's
need
true.
that,
That's a good
and
point.
so
That's a good point.
I guess that's more childlike because that's how kid is. As soon
Yeah.
as you open your Christmas gifts, oh, I gotta open
Yeah, I
every one.
gotta play with them. Yeah.
Whereas like I just have never been able to resist the urge to open a package.
That's fair.
And
Yeah,
for
I don't know.
instance, I mean, it could be something you really wanted, you were waiting for, and you're like, oh, here it is.
I think it's like the temptation too. It also goes back to that because you're almost just constant, like, what I mean. It's like one of the temptations, like to open it. But I don't know. I feel like I look at it like I get like me. For example, like I tell you all the time, I can't relax till I've done something. So like for me, I like to be in a state where I can
Yeah,
read
have
it
your routine
and
done
have it.
and then deal with it. And
Yes,
that's
I
fine. That's
have to get
completely
my
fine.
agenda done. It's
You
on my
cannot
head.
usually do it during the
Then I will do
day.
that. Yeah, correct.
He's
But
not going to look at his phone. That's how patient
yeah,
he is. And so it's like,
yeah,
for
I won't
me,
at
like,
all, at all.
if I
Yeah.
get a message and I can open it, I'm generally going to open it, whereas like, you're usually working and, you're going to get around to it at the end of the day. That's a boundary and there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
that's
that.
true. That's
But for
very
me,
true.
I could still be busy and I'm still going to be like, what's that?
Yeah.
And so maybe it's just a difference in
I think it's
personality.
personality. I was gonna say, that's what I think it is. I think it's more just, yeah, what's what spikes your interest. You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't think certain things. Yeah, I just don't think there's certain things that spike my interest as much because obviously we all dictate our day and make our agenda off of what we want. Just like I tell you, we all search for search results that we want to see.
Of course.
Just like we live our life how we want to live. So, for
Yeah.
example, I just feel like for whatever reason, most of the times that something like just isn't in my priority list. You know what I mean? Like it's just on the back. But I think it goes back to your priority list. Like I said, everybody's just got a different priority list, and
I
it's just
wouldn't say
really what
like
it
a
comes
lot of
down to.
packages, but I'm just saying that, it's nice when you get something in the mail and you're like, oh yeah, cool. As a single
But
mom,
we love those
it's really
people. They
exciting.
they uh, they keep my job, so we appreciate you guys keeping UPS employed.
It's just exciting. Keeps you going.
That's right. That's right. Well, babe, is there anything else you want to add? I think that was pretty good, man. I'm pretty happy, pretty content with that, and I think that was pretty solid.
Good.
All right, sure. Quick hit, right?
I'm so happy.
And speaking of that, we are gonna learn about it. We're gonna head to the casino. We haven't had a day in a long time. Thanks again to mom because we haven't had days in a long time. We haven't had time to ourselves in a long time. So we've been real busy. So hopefully everybody's tuning into the podcast. We're gonna go try to win some money, and if we don't win some, we're gonna hopefully come back and make another podcast and make some more. So we're gonna figure it out.
Finally gonna eat an Onion Jacks.
And yes, Onion Jacks. And if you are from around here, go to Onion Jacks if you haven't, because it is amazing. You don't even need to spend money at the casino. Just go there and eat. Yeah, it's the best move you can make.
You will be
And
very
then
happy.
get a free Pepsi on your way out from this machine, and then
Yeah,
that's the
have
best thing you can do.
soda.
They do. It's the best fountain soda.
It's like
I don't know
so
what they do to
carbonated.
it, dude.
And I look forward to it every time. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna
I
get soda when I go to the casino.
I swear the casino puts like Coke in it or something. You know what I mean? Like it just something's got to be in it. Like
Just
it's
extra air.
something's added to it. I don't know what they're putting in it,
If
or
they pump extra
because it makes you
oxygen
feel
in
great,
there,
dude. I don't know what it
there's a
is.
lot of different things
There's
they can do.
there's some type of drug in that. I believe it, but it is too good. It's too
It's
good.
just fresh soda. There's
It-
a big difference.
I know, but it's just it's different. It just doesn't hit like there has to be something added, like ingredient wise. I feel like there has to
I
be.
guess if
But,
you're losing on the slots and you got some good tasting soda, I mean,
yeah, it's a win-win, right? Yeah, something like.
I mean, I'm usually okay with it.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But yeah, we're gonna go try to have a good day. Hope everybody else has a good day. Try to spread love in this world. There's a lot of hate going on. There's a lot of bad vibes going on.
Don't
Make
waste
sure.
your energy.
Yes. Do not waste your time and breath and energy on bad vibes. There's too much in this world to be happy with. There's too much in this world for us to find peace in. There's too much in this world for us to have agreements with, for us to only be focused on our differences.
Yeah.
So let's try to find better ways to be peaceful, try to find better ways to treat people with respect, and whether we disagree or agree with someone, we can still find ways to do it in a respectful and non-humiliating manner. That we can do. So let's try to be better people and realize it's a bigger picture. It's about after us. It's about what we can do to create a world after we're gone. And we need to make sure we're doing our part of making a better world for everyone. And it continues to go on and on and on and on after us. That's always the goal.
Yeah.
So as always, everybody love everybody. ELE, spread love, spread forgiveness, spread kindness. Be the change that you want to be in the world, and let's try to be a good change. Let's try to create positivity. Let's create a world and a society that people want to live in and feel accepted in. And that's all we can do. And hopefully we're doing that with our little part, and giving people a space and air to breathe in that doesn't feel judged, doesn't feel biased. And hopefully we make you feel like the world's got a little bit of a better heart in it. And hopefully you can do that in your life and make others want to do that as well. And as always, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. There's a subscription link below if you'd like to send money to the show to support it. Appreciate anybody that does. Social medias or who's out there besides us, and at Andrew Doofendock. And we have a website coming soon as well. We'll launch that, and as soon as we do, we'll drop the links for it. And we'll have merchandise coming soon as well with stickers, a bunch of other stuff, and the event. And we're going to post a lot of stuff for that and make sure everybody's updated and can purchase all that as well. So once again, as always, appreciate everybody that does tune in. It means more than you know, and I appreciate you babe, taking the time out of your day to come on.
Of
And
course.
thank you as always for all you do. And I appreciate all you do for us. And as always, have a great night, great morning, great lunch, great dinner, great breakfast. Go to West Side. We're going there tomorrow morning for my birthday. We're going tomorrow morning for my
Yes.
birthday. So shout out Sock, get it cooking for us. Get a nice s'more special for us, something sweet for Drew. That'd be great. And other than that, as always, spread love, do your part, and this is Who's Even Listening, signing off.